Alright, just to warn you right away that this video might be a little long here because I'm going to try and build a circuit here, not using the fritzing thing that we've been doing, and then also hook this up. I'll probably pause the video at some point to turn things on, although we might not. Now, what I have here, and I'm also going to be flipping the breadboard up here. Actually, this shows up pretty nicely on the camera here. Is the chip that you're going to be wanting to use is, well, it's an NEC, which that company actually I don't believe exists anymore. Um, it's a 358, and it's an op-amp chip. And I just have the other resistors here that I'm going to need for my circuit. And when you find this in here, you'll notice that there's a little dot up here. That's representing pin 1. So the way this works, this is pin 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it goes 5, 6, 7, 8. It's important to know to connect the pins up correctly. Now, the other thing we need, of course, is the circuit that we're going to build, as well as a data sheet for this. So let's first look at the circuit. Now let me first emphasize this circuit is very similar to what you will be doing in the lab, but not identical. I purposely am doing something a little bit different. This is an inverting, I'm sorry, what you're doing in the lab is an inverting amplifier. This is a non-inverting amplifier. And because I'm writing with the screen up, it's going to be extra sloppy right now. And we can remember that the gain equation for us here was 1 plus the feedback resistor over the input resistor. So the gain for this would be 1 plus 8.2 over 2.2 is what the gain would be. So when I say 1 volt amplitude here, this is 1 volt amplitude, but this would be 2 volt peak to peak. And the way we'll set that is we'll actually just use the oscilloscope to set it here at 1 kilohertz. And I don't have the power connections here, but it says it's being powered by plus or minus 12 volts. And so there's also a particular way we're going to have to set this up on the power supply. So actually, I think I'm going to make 2 videos. I'll make one just building the circuit, now I think about it, and then one connecting everything up and doing a measurement on it. All right, so let's go ahead and build this circuit first off. So I'm going to be tabbing back and forth between this here and kind of raising these up. Now, in order to build this circuit, we need to have what's called a data sheet for this, because I don't know what these pins are that correspond. As a side note, when you put one of these in here, you're probably going to have to bend these leads just slightly. Be careful. I just usually squeeze them a tiny bit between my fingers, and then you'll want to insert it so that it fills that gap, and then you press down. Because remember, this gap separates those 2 sides. So that's how we'll have it plugged in there. So I'm going to be doing quite a bit of tabbing back and forth. Now, what I did is I just Google searched for 358 data sheet, and this is from Texas Instruments. And you might say, well, this isn't the same data sheet because it's, that's NEC. It doesn't really matter for our purposes. There can be small differences between companies' op-amp, but there's not going to be anything majorly different between it. The key thing that we're looking for, though, here is how these things are connected here. So we're only going to be using 1 op-amp here. So for this design, we only need 1 op-amp. So we really only need like op-amp A or op-amp B. It doesn't matter which one you use, but it's important that we know what we have here. So what we have here is we have output A, the inverting terminal for this, and then the non-inverting terminal. So I'm going to go back to my diagram here. So, and label here, this is pin 1. That's a little poorly written. Pin 1. Then I'm going to go back to my data sheet. Pin 2 is the inverting. So this is pin 2. This is pin 3. And now it says this is what's a little deceptive about the package, and you have to kind of read carefully here on this data sheet. I'm going to scroll all the way back up to the top here. See, wide power supply. See, it's single supply 3 volts to 32 volts, or dual supply plus minus 1.5 to plus minus 16. So the reason I point that out is that it looks like that we are going to put ground here. This is one that's kind of mislabeling about this. This isn't actually ground here. Pin 4 is going to be where we put negative 12 volts. Pin 8 is where we put positive 12 volts. So I'm going to put that down here. Pin 4 is negative 12 volts, and pin 8 is positive 12 volts. And if you do not connect those power supplies up correctly, you will just destroy the chip. And you only have 2 of these, so be careful. And when I say you'll destroy the chip, it's because of the way that the chip is here. So if you even go down to here, to the pin functions here, it gives you even a little bit more description where it says ground / V minus. Ground for single supply configuration, negative supply for dual supply configuration. And we're running it in dual supply configuration. Okay, so we now know, and I like to do this in my diagram, is label on the op amp here what the pins are that I'm going to be connecting to. All right, so let's just kind of start going through here and making some connections on the breadboard. So what I'm going to first do here is I'm going to first connect up my power. That's always the first thing I like to do. Well, first off, I like to have ground on both sides. So I'm going to put the blue rails here. Let me make sure I have my eyes are. So I'm going to connect up these 2 blue rails together, and those 2 blue rails are going to be my ground. Then I like to make my negative voltage yellow. That's actually sometimes what's used in like computer power supplies. And now remember, where does the negative go? We said pin 4 goes to negative 12. So pin 4 goes to negative 12. So again, there's this little dot here. I'm trying to get this wire so I can show you. There's this little dot here, kind of an indentation, that always indicates pin 1. Or sometimes there's a little notch even taken out right here. Or sometimes there actually is like a dot, like a color, like they put a, gray, there'll be like the color of font here. They'll put that color there as a dot to indicate pin 1. So this is pin 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So that is going to go up to negative power. So I'm going to put the negative power on this rail right here. And now, because I do have, no I don't. Now as I said, I typically like to use red for positive, but for some reason my kit here only has orange in it. So I'm going to use an orange wire to represent positive voltage. I like to keep wire color coding consistent in a circuit, because then you can say, okay, anytime I see a yellow wire, that's negative power. So I'm not going to use any yellow wires anymore unless I'm using negative power. All right, well then I'm going to connect here to pin 8 is where the positive was. And so I need to make sure here, I'm going to put positive 12 here, I'm going to put negative 12 here, and then these are both going to be ground. But I only have to connect the ground onto one of them because the grounds are tied together already. So that's just getting my power supply connected. Now, that is going to be the same for your circuit that you're going to be building in this week's lab. Even though your circuit's slightly different, the way we connect up the power is going to be exactly the same. So I want to go ahead and do my typical, okay, I've connected those up. All right, so then I'm going to connect up the rest of this circuit here. So I have a 10K ohm resistor that's coming off of pin 1, and that's also going to ground. Now this is really just a load here that I'm going to use to measure my output. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. So let's show us doing that. And I believe yours has a 10K as well, so let me grab my 10K ohm resistor. Now you should also measure these resistances and record the value of them as well, especially when you're trying to compute what the gain should be. You need to use the actual measured resistances to see what the gain should be. And so I'm going to go ahead and, now I could actually just, this is pin 1 that I've connected it into. You see, this is pin 1, so I connected it right into here. Now I could just connect it just off to the side here like this, or I could connect it straight into my grounding, because I know it's going to ground. So you could either connect it straight like that, or you could connect it, you know, off to the side here. And then if you connect it off to the side, you would need another wire here then connecting it straight to ground. You know, so you need to put in another wire here connecting it to ground like this. Now, what I do often, if it's just as simple, since I have so many ground holes, I will just go ahead, I just typically connect that straight into ground like that. All right, so that's one component in. So let's cross that off now. So that's that one in. Now I've got an 8.2K that's also connected to pin 1, and then it's also connected to pin 2. So my 8.2 here, the color band on this would be gray, red, red, and it's having a hard time focusing on it. Let me turn it this way so it makes sense. Now it's even harder time focusing on it because my hand is shadowing everything. It's gray, red, red, gold, because the gold is the tolerance band, but this is 8.2K. And now we're supposed to connect this between pins 1 and 2, because that's what the circuit diagram says. Now, I'm probably not going to try and do that, because could you imagine you're going to have to try and bend these leads so close together, and then it's just going to fall out half the time. So I'm not going to bother doing that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to connect that into pin 2, because I know it needs to go into pin 2, and then the other side needs to go into pin 1, right? Pin 2 and then pin 1. So then I'm just going to grab a wire, and I will use white here because I want to grab a wire that's not black for ground, and I want to grab a wire that's not orange or yellow for my power. So I'll grab a wire that's white here, and then I will go ahead and plug that into that location and then connect it into pin 1, just like so. So actually I'll put this on the other side here so I don't bend the resistor. So it looks kind of a little messy to do it that way, but honestly it's much easier than trying to plug it directly into pins 2 and 1 at the same time. Okay, so now I've gotten this component connected. Now I have the 2.2K, which is just this resistor right here. And that resistor goes between pin 2 and ground. So that goes back into pin 2, and we can see things are going to start getting a little smushy here. But then again, it goes straight into ground. So I'm just going to connect it straight into a ground pin here. So now, always good idea to double check your connections anytime you make it. So that was supposed to go into pin 2, and so I'm just using a little thing here to illustrate. So this is where the hole is, and of course my fans are in the way, but it's definitely going into pin 2. Here, let me zoom this in here a second, or at least give a different angle, not zoom it in. And you can see that's connected to pin 2, and then it's also connected to ground. Okay, now we go back here and we go ahead and cross that one off. Now, the last thing we have is to connect up to pin 3 our input signal. Now that input signal is going to be coming from the function generator. So now to do that, I'm not going to try and clip something directly into pin 3. What I'm going to do instead is, let me find here, see if I can find a decent length wire here. This is decent. So I'm going to put in just a white wire here. You could use a different color. And I'm just going to leave this just like this, because what I'm going to do is, when I'm ready to power the circuit up and everything, this is coming from my audio signal. I'm just going to clip it in just like that. And you can see that's connected up again to my audio signal. So This is what I'm going to clip to the audio signal here. And now the other side of the audio signal is also connected to ground. And so this is where it's helpful just to use a lot of black wires for ground. So what I'm going to do here, this is the ground for the audio cable, is that I'm going to say, I'm just going to even put it down here because it doesn't matter where I put it. And I'm going to say, okay, well, I'm going to connect this up to ground. And I will go ahead and connect this up to the positive. So now, again, my audio signal is off, there's nothing going there. But now my audio signal is connected in. Because again, we want it to be off, because even though this audio signal is a low voltage signal, we don't have to worry too much about it, low voltage, low current. You never want to be wiring with anything on. So I've now connected this up. And I think I will go ahead and end this video here. We're just going to start another video, and we're going to pick up right where we left off and connecting everything up here and looking at some measurements. So the things we have finished doing is actually connecting the power supply up and then actually connecting the oscilloscope up to take measurements.